Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I would love it if you would subscribe down below if you like these kinds of videos. I share them every Sunday to hopefully give you guys some meal ideas and motivation to cook more for your family. As always, any recipes that I use will be linked down below. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Alright, we are starting off this week's What's for Dinner with an easy dinner. We've got spaghetti, so I just cooked up some ground beef. I've got the Walmart marinara sauce, and then some spaghetti noodles. So this is my plate. Got some Parmesan cheese on top, and then the kids wanted garlic bread. I ordered garlic bread. Walmart didn't have any, so I didn't get any. So we just took some white bread. I mixed up a little garlic salt with some butter, rubbed that on there, spread it on there, and toasted the bread, and then I sprinkled a little bit of parsley on there. And then me and Elijah have some salad with Olive Garden dressing and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So that one is his. And Lily just has a couple grape tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is going to be dinner for Friday. It is Saturday, and tonight for dinner we're going to be having some paninis and some fries. So I'm getting started on the fries first. I'm going to cook these up in the air fryer. I cut up 4 potatoes, and 2 of them were like really big, like good sized potatoes. If I would have had like 3 that size, then I probably would have just done 3, but then like the other 2 were like little short stubby potatoes. I've been having a really hard time finding like decent sized potatoes. I mean, I'm just doing grocery pickup at Walmart. It might be easier to find them if I went in store, but every time I order a bag of potatoes, it's mostly little tiny round potatoes. So they don't make a good size for really long fries, but we'll make it do. So I cut those up into like little fry shapes. Sometimes I do it like this, sometimes I do wedges. What I'm doing is garlic Parmesan fries. Usually I also bake these in the oven, but I have done them in the air fryer, and I don't feel like turning on the oven tonight. It was like 90 degrees outside today, so I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna use the air fryer. So I've got those in there. I'm gonna use some salt and pepper, some garlic powder, some Italian seasoning, some olive oil, and some Parmesan cheese. And I will turn my air fryer on like 400 probably and cook these for probably about 25 minutes. For our paninis, I'm starting off by buttering both sides of some sourdough bread. And then for the kids, they wanted pizza sauce because they don't really like pesto. So I put a little bit of pizza sauce on there, some mozzarella, some pepperoni, some ham, and some salami. And then I put these on my little panini griddle thing, which I always have linked in my Amazon store. I absolutely love this thing. I got it for Christmas. The plates are reversible, so it's flat on one side and then like the grill plates on the other side. And I absolutely love it. And then for my panini, I did the same thing I did for the kids, except I used the pesto sauce instead of pizza sauce. Okay, here are our plates. We've got our fries. These are the finished fries. I just throw them all in the air fryer, so they're kind of soft and floppy fries, but we like them. And then here's my panini with the pesto on it. And then Andy got home in the middle of me making dinner, so I made him one, and he opted for pizza sauce. So that one is his, and his fries. And then these are the kids, and that is going to be dinner for Saturday. It is Sunday, and tonight for dinner I am making a lemon chicken pasta toss. This comes from my Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. I always have this linked to my Amazon store if you're interested in it, but I have also found the recipe online, so I will leave a link to it down below. I don't follow it 100%, so I'm going to kind of walk you guys through it, but I will link that down below if you're interested in looking at it for exact measurements and everything. So to start off, I've got my chicken in here, and they don't really have you season it when you cook it, but of course we're going to season it. So I've got that cut up into about 1-inch pieces, and I'm going to add some flour to it, about 2 tablespoons, and then I'm also going to add some of the Slap Your Mama and some salt and pepper. And then over here I am heating up some oil and butter, and I'm going to cook my chicken in that, and then once it's done I will remove it from the pan. And then back here I have some water coming to a boil because I'm going to cook 2 cups of penne noodles. Okay, I've removed the chicken. I added a little bit more olive oil. At this point you could saute some shallots if you want to. I'm just going to do garlic, so I'm going to do like 2 tablespoons of garlic maybe. 1 tablespoon, a tablespoon and a half. We like garlic, so lots of garlic. I'm going to saute that, and then I'm going to add in 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth and the juice of 2 lemons. This has been simmering for 2 to 3 minutes now, and it is slightly reduced. So I am going to go ahead and add in my noodles that are done cooking. I have reserved some pasta water because I might want it to kind of thin the sauce to give it a little bit more moisture. So I've got some pasta water. I'm going to add in my pasta and stir in my chicken. And at this point you could also add in capers, but I'm not going to do that for the whole thing. I'm going to add capers to my bowl. I've actually never had them. I tasted one. I don't think my family's going to like it, so I'm not going to add it to the whole dish. And I'm also going to add in some parsley, and then we will serve this topped with Parmesan cheese. To go with the pasta, I made some broccoli. I just roasted it in the air fryer with the same seasoning I put on the chicken, some Slap Your Mama, some salt, and some pepper and some olive oil. So there is that. And then this is the pasta. I did put some capers in mine. It's hard to tell. There's one right there. I didn't put too many. It only calls for 3 tablespoons of them for the whole dish. So I just put a couple in my bowl. But this pasta, even without the capers and the shallots, is just so good. It's light because it's not creamy. It's just lemony and chicken broth. And it's just a light pasta dish, and it's super delicious if you like lemony stuff. Yeah, goof. But that is going to be dinner for Sunday. It is Monday, and tonight for dinner we are having a family favorite. This is my recipe for taco spaghetti. I know lots of people do taco spaghetti, and everybody does it different. I have shared this many times. I have a whole recipe video on it down below. But it's been a while since I made it, and been a while since I shared it step by step, so I am going to share it tonight. And so for that, my oven is preheated to 350 because I do bake mine. And then I have a pound of ground beef right here. I have a pound of spaghetti noodles, and I have water coming to a boil for those noodles. I have some taco seasoning to season the meat. I use a can opener to open my can of Rotel, just the mild one. You could do hot if you like it really hot. And then sometimes I do Greek yogurt. Today I'm using sour cream. And then we've got enchilada sauce. I had one of the big jars and only used half of it, so this is about equal to the small jar of enchilada sauce. And then a Velveeta, or generic Velveeta. This is the Aldi one. I've found that their brand is just as good as Velveeta, but much cheaper. So we got that, and I use half of it, so 16 ounces of Velveeta. Elijah is helping me by pointing to the things tonight. But that is what we are going to use for this. I'm going to get started by browning my ground beef with some taco seasoning and get my water boiling so I can boil my noodles. I'm gonna cook them just under being done since this is going to go in the oven. Okay, my meat is browned. There's not a lot of grease in this because it's lean, so I'm not going to drain it. But if you have a lot of grease, I would definitely recommend draining it. And then you could even add in more taco seasoning. My noodles are almost done. I'm going to go ahead and add in a couple spoonfuls of sour cream, probably about a half of a cup, some Rotel, my Velveeta cheese, and my enchilada sauce. Elijah's actually going to help me. And then once my noodles are done, I will mix everything together, throw it in a casserole dish, top it with some shredded cheese, and bake it for probably about 25 minutes just until it's nice and bubbly. It honestly doesn't need to be baked. We just like that like baked on cheese. Okay, and this is dinner. Keep it pretty easy. Of course, a salad or something is always good with it. You can also top this with things. We've done avocado, some salsa, some pico, some more sour cream, whatever you want, or you just do it as is. It is super filling and rich because of all of the cheese. So we are just going to eat that tonight. Andy always, when he reheats it for lunch the next day, he always tops it with more salsa because it can kind of dry out a little bit, not too much. So he likes to top it with salsa. I've done the Ortega taco sauce before, but yeah, that is going to be dinner for Monday. On Tuesday, I made a new recipe called chicken scampi with garlic parmesan rice. I started off by cooking my chicken in a little olive oil. I seasoned the chicken with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, but if I make this again, I'd definitely season the chicken with something more. It was just a little blah compared to the rice. Once the chicken was done, I removed it and added butter, minced garlic, pepper flakes, and salt to the pan, and I sauteed that for about 3 minutes. Next, the recipe called for white wine, but I prefer to drink my white wine, so I subbed the wine with some chicken broth and lemon juice. I stirred that and simmered it for about 5 minutes until the mixture reduced. I set aside 2 tablespoons of that pan sauce for later, and then I stirred in my rice and let that brown for about 3 to 4 minutes. Then I added in my chicken broth, brought that to a boil, reduced the heat, and covered and simmered the rice for 20 minutes. Once the rice was done, I sprinkled it with Parmesan cheese, added the chicken back, and poured on the remaining pan sauce. I covered that and let it sit for 5 minutes until the cheese was melted. And you guys, the best part about this dish was the rice and the pan sauce. I feel like the chicken would have been better if there was more pan sauce, or if the chicken would have cooked in that pan sauce. The chicken was just a little blah, but the rice was so good. I would make just the rice again. It is Wednesday, and tonight we are having a favorite, something super easy, and it is cowboy beans. I will have a link to where I have made this in depth down below. So we just got that tonight with some homemade like Red Lobster cheddar bay biscuits. I use like the Bisquick mix and milk and cheese, and then brushed on some butter and garlic. Get your fingers goofy. So that is going to be our easy dinner for Wednesday. It is Thursday, and tonight for dinner we are going to be having a London broil. I have thawed this out, and then I just got done poking a bunch of holes in both sides of it, and I'm going to get it in the fridge and marinating for a couple of hours until dinner. So I am going to juice half of this lemon and use some Worcestershire and some minced garlic and some olive oil, brown sugar, salt, and pepper. And I will have the link to where I got this recipe down below, so you guys can go there for the exact ingredients. I'm just gonna mix everything together in here and pour it over my London broil. Okay, I have pulled my London broil out of the fridge, and the directions say to brush off most of that minced garlic because we don't want it to burn. We are going to broil this. London broil gets its name because of the way it is cooked. That's what I read. Like, it used to not be like a cut of meat. It used to just be a way you cook a certain kind of meat. It's actually like a round steak. So London broil is just like a top round steak. So we've got our London broil on the pan. I have my oven on broil already, getting it hot. We're going to put this all the way at the top for 6 to 7 minutes. Then we're going to flip the steak and cook it another 5 minutes for a medium rare steak. And then we're going to pull it out and let it rest for 10 minutes before we cut it. I'm doing my Instant Pot mac and cheese. I will leave a link down below for the video where I did that. And then I'm going to also fry up some zucchini. Okay, here are our plates. As I said, zucchini, mac and cheese. This is mine. This is Andy's. I gave him the thicker side of the London broil so he can have the more rare steak. It was a little bit thinner, I think, than the recipe called for. So, like, where the kids is, it's definitely, like, more done. But it's cool. It still tastes good. It's not well done, so that's all that matters. So, yeah, that's his. That's Elijah's. He's not the biggest fan of, like, just like steak or anything just like by itself. So I give him a couple pieces, and if he wants more, I'll give him more. And then Lily's with zucchini and Elijah's with cucumber because he doesn't like zucchini. And that is going to wrap up this week's What's for Dinner. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.